Today we are going to look at tables. I want to look at tables. So when you go to that W schools, which I told you about, the other time we looked at the sort and the filter. Now I want to look at how we use tables in Excel. Some people think that tables only appear in Microsoft Word. They think the tables are not there in Excel. But even in Excel, we have tables. So we can have a work and we convert it in tables. The major advantage for tables, why we use tables, one, it enables the sort and the filter, which will save us time. So with the tables, the sorting and the filter becomes very easy. Also, the tables make it easy in formatting and make it easy in autofilling. So very soon we shall begin what we call data cleanup. We shall be cleaning data in Excel. One step of data cleaning up is to convert to tables. And when we convert to tables, it is very easy to sort empty cells. We shall say we sort empty cells. Very easy to see the duplicates. We shall see very soon how to determine duplicates in Excel and the autofill. So an example of data in tables looks like that. So when you convert a work into tables, it is going to bring these filter buttons up, as you see. Now, these filter buttons, they are the ones which we use to sort and do the filtering. Also, the table is going to help you to organize your records. Now, this is just ordinary data, how it looks like. That's how the ordinary data looks like. Let me open an Excel sheet and you see how. Okay, let me share another screen. Okay, I have that Excel sheet for results. Let me hope there's none of your results are there. So that was a results for last semester, okay? I hope none of you is on the list there to be embarrassed. But I'm sure there's none of you there. Okay, let me hide the names so that people don't faint on my screen. Let me just hide them. Okay. Let me just leave those marks there. So as you look at that, that's a data. It's not what? Someone is complaining. Okay, that's a data set. We want to convert this data set into a table such that we are able to do things like filtering, sorting easily. As you look at it there, it's not a table. Okay? It's not a table as you look at it. So to convert it to a table, this is what we do. We are going to select an entire data set. But now when I do like this and I drag like this becomes tiresome. Now it is easy when you have a small database like this one, okay? But when you go into organizations, the database is bigger than that. You have thousands and thousands of records. So if you do that, it will take you a lot of time. So let us see the easiest way of selecting to convert to a table. This one will be good if each one of you had a data set on that side to practice. So this is what we do. We click on the first cell. So we select the first cell. But let me turn all the other columns. Let me turn all the other columns. I guess there's no one in this class who's on this list. This is for computer skills. You people are for computer applications. Or I put one for computer applications and you see yourselves. Okay. Let us make people not faint. So we click in the first cell. So after clicking the first cell, you are going to hold the Control and the Shift key on the keyboard. Control and Shift. Then you are going to press the arrow key pointing down. That you have the four cursor control keys, but there's the one pointing down. So while holding Control and Shift, now as you see, it has highlighted all the cells from up to bottom. It has not skipped any. So even if you have 10,000 records, you have selected them at once. Then after that, again, you are going to hold Control and Shift on the keyboard, and you are going to press the right hand arrow, cursor control key, the right hand. So as you see again, it selects all of them, but because there's an empty space here, that's why it is stopping here. It thinks the data stops there because of the empty space. So we are going to continue holding Control and Shift to skip the empty space. Again, it finds another empty space. So we continue until when it finishes the data set. So as you can see, only the data is selected. There is some more data down there which is not selected. Let me add it. Okay. So all of my data now is selected. Now I want to convert this into a table so that we are able to do the sorting and the filtering. So there are two ways to convert into a table. The first way, after selecting your data you want to convert to a table, you click on Insert. You click on Insert. After Insert, I'm going to mute all of you because people are making noise. Those who want to ask you, put in the chat room. Let me mute all of you such that we are not distracted by people. Okay. Anyone who has a question, you put it in the chat room because now your mics, I have muted you.
Yes, let's connect it.
And now someone has unmuted himself. Who is that one distracting us? I'll remove you from the class. Okay. Who's using a Samsung phone? Don't unmute yourself again. Okay. So we want to convert that data to table. So the first way I've said you can click on Insert and you click Table. Or you can press Ctrl+T on the keyboard. It is even showing you on the screen there. So when I click Table, there's a small dialog box there that appears. You pay attention to that dialog box. So it says, where is the data for your table? Now, since I have already selected the data, as you can see, it is using absolute reference. There are dollar signs there. So you remember the absolute reference we talked about. So it is using absolute reference because that's the exact data we want. So it selects it. And then there's another option here. My table has headers. So because our table has headers, we are going to select that option for my table as headers. As you can see, we are using absolute reference to do the table. Then we can click OK. Now when I click OK, You can see how my data is converted into. Now let me explain what has come up. You can see each record is different from another one. One is sky blue, another one is white. Okay? That is one advantage of the table. It is able to help you to separate a record from another one. You can easily separate a record from another record. Just a minute, someone is calling me. Okay, sorry about that. So the one advantage of the table, we are saying, when you give a reader your work, a reader can easily tell. Remember, when I gave you marks in the group, they were in such a format. This is what I did. It's just a matter of selecting the data and you press Ctrl T or you go to insert table. Another advantage with the table, it comes with these drop-down arrows at every column. And under this drop-down arrow, you can easily do the sorting of your data and the filtering. So as you can see, I can decide not to select all the names, or I can decide to have only a buckle. That is about filtering. Or I can decide to put my work into the names into alphabetical order. Now, as you can see, I have converted to alphabetical order. So the choice is yours. That is the drop-down arrow. You can use it for sorting, alphabetical order, or then you can see this column here had no header. It had no header. So computer automatically calls it column 1. Now you said your columns that have no headers, the computer will head them column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on. So that is something to note. But if you want, you can change the column name by selecting it. And then you come there, you adjust it, and you give it a name. Okay? Hope converting to tables is okay. Now, the moment you convert to a table, there's a bar here that comes up, which is called table design. So the table design has tools that can help you change your table. So here we are having table 1. You can resize the table. You can summarize it with pivot tables. We shall see pivot tables later. You can summarize it with pivot tables. You have other options here, first column, last column. But what I want us to look at are the table designs here. So you can choose a different table design. As you can see, you can choose a different table design. All of you don't have necessarily to have the same table design. And this is where we catch you in the exam. I can set a number and I tell you, convert to a table design of your choice. And you find all the class, they have one design. That is impossible. That is one way of knowing that there was some malpractice. All of you cannot have the same choice of a table design. So there are so many table designs to choose from, as you can see. That is one element. Another element we can do in the table design is to remove duplicates. We may have duplicate records in our table. So we can use remove duplicates to remove the duplicates from the table. Then we have convert to range. Convert to range is going to take this table back to a range. So if I select my table, and I want to convert it back to a range, I just click convert to range. Do you want to convert it to a normal range? I say yes. So as you see now, the filters have gone away. So I have a normal table range, normal table data. Okay. So that's how we convert to table. And that's how we go back. Is there any question concerning the tables?
Yes.
Can you ask someone saying yes?
Can you repeat me again, converting table design?
From converting to table design?
I lost.
You are lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do like this. Let me take it back to. So that is our Excel work. That is our Excel work. And you want to convert that work into a table. Okay.
Yes.
So what we do, you select your work. You select all of your work. I said, when you do this, you can do this, it is okay, but it will work when you have small data like that. Our normal selecting. If you have small data, it will work, which is okay. Okay. But we are saying if you have big data, say for example, you're working in the electoral commission, and you have data like the voters register. Now, voters register is in millions and millions of people. Okay. So if you just do that, it will take you time. That's why I've given you a short way of doing it. And the short way I've said, you go to the very first cell. You go to the very first cell. And under that cell, you are going to hold the Control and the Shift key on the keyboard. Then you press the arrow that is pointing down on the cursor control keys, the arrow pointing down.
Good.
So it will straight away go to the last record in your work. After that, you use the arrow pointing to the right. So you do that until when all the records are finished. So when I check down here, I still have some records which are not included. So I'm going to include those records as well. Again, using the Shift and the arrow keys. Okay, so now I've finished to tell the computer what data I want to convert to a table. Are we together at that point? So I've finished to notify the computer that's what I want to convert to a table. Someone in group is asking how to select the data. I think I have answered you how to select the data. So that's how we select the data. After selecting it, then you either press Ctrl T on the keyboard or you click on the Insert button. And after clicking on the Insert button, you go where there's table. So you click on the table. There is a small dialog box that is going to appear. And that dialog box asks us where is the data for your table. Since we have already selected the data, it comes there. And you can see it has dollar signs, making it absolute reference. So meaning absolutely, that's the data I want to convert to a table, nothing more. Another option we have is to tell Excel that our table has headers. So our table has headers. Then we click OK. So as you see, the work has been converted into a table. And I have said each record is given a different color to separate it from another record. That's how the table works. Again, the columns are given a drop-down arrow. That drop-down arrow can help us to sort in alphabetical order. It can help us to sort by color. It can also help us to filter. It can also help us to do the other filterings as well. Say, for example, this is the final mark. If I come to a final mark here, I'm going to deselect all, okay? But I just want to see only the students who got 50. So I'm going to select 50. I just want to know all those who got 50, and I say, okay. So as you can see, I have only one student who got a 50. If I want to see all the students who have a 90, say, I'm going to remove the 50. Remember the sort we saw it last class. And I want to see how many students have 90. So I'll click OK. So as you can see, only one student has a 90. I'm going to put them back on by clicking on select all. So in the exam, such questions can be caught. For example, I can tell you to determine all the items which were bought in December. So that means if we had a column, and this column here was months, and we have different months here. We have December, we have January, April, December, February, and so on and so forth. So in exam, I can tell you to filter out only those items which were bought in December. So what you are supposed to do is that you convert it to a table. After converting to a table, you come to the column for the months. You click the drop-down arrow. You remove the select all, and then you select December. Then you click OK. So there you have only those items which are bought in December. Even this can be at your workplace. Your boss can tell you, I need only customers from the Eastern region. So it means convert your data into a table, go to the column for regions, and then select only the Eastern region. So these are times when we use the table, okay? Any other question before I proceed? So everybody can convert to a table and can play with the table. Okay. Now this table which we have created, I want to scroll down and I see some data down. Okay. I left in a command the other time for freeze pen. Let me first remove it. Okay. So I want to scroll down. But as you see, as I scroll down, I cannot see the headers, yet I need them. I don't see the header row, yet I need to move with that header row to be able to see it. So there, we use a tool which is called freeze. I'm sure we talked about it last time. I want now and again to go back to these tools so that you get used to them. So I go back to a tool which is called freeze pen. Then I choose freeze top row. So now when I freeze the top row, even if I scroll down, the top row will always remain there. But I may want also to freeze. I want to freeze the top row, but I want to see these names as well, such that even if I move this side, the names don't disappear. I want the names to remain there. I want the names always to be here, not moving. So how do I do that? I come to the column after the names, but just below the top row. Then I come to freeze. Then I'm going to, let me first sign freeze to remove the first. So I come there, then I come to freeze. So you see this one, which makes this angle here. So that is one I choose. Even tells you keep rows and columns visible. So those that are highlighted are the ones which are going to remain visible. So I choose that. Now, if I scroll this side, you can see the names are still there. They are not moving away. The names are still there. And when I scroll down, the top row remains. I'll be going back now and again to the tools that we saw so that we don't forget these tools. Now and again, I'll be using these tools here and there. Any question?
If I want to add this table down.
If you want to do what?
If you want to add this table down.
To add it down.
Also, it is the same.
To add more data down.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to add more data down, it's a matter of inserting rows. Okay. So you just insert rows. Now remember, in Excel is not the same as Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word gives you option to add cells below and to insert rows below or insert rows above. But Excel doesn't do it that way. Excel inserts only above. So when I am here and I click insert rows, so a row will come above. However, if you want to insert more rows, you can select, let me add where there's some data. So if I select like 4 of them here, and I click on insert rows, so it will insert the number of rows that I have selected. As you can see, so if I select 2, it will insert 2. But remember, with Excel, these are inserted above. It's not like in Microsoft Word where they can be inserted below and on. Same applies to the columns, the same thing. When you select one column and you say insert, it will insert in column, but the column will be inserted on the left, not on the right. If you select 2, again, it is going to insert 2 columns, but on the left, not on the right. Okay? Any other question? Someone is putting in the chat room. Come again, sir, on what? Someone say come again. Now come again on what? I've said a lot of things. I don't know what you want me to come again on. Ruth. Ruth, can you unmute your mic and you explain to us what you want? Because you are saying come again. I don't know what you want me to.
Okay. How to? I got lost in the middle when you were explaining about how to make the heading appear when you're scrolling.
So at the heading, does it move?
Mm.
Okay. So there I used a tool which is called freeze pen. So what freeze pen does, that tool is found under the view button. And is this one, freeze pen. So freeze, let me first unfreeze. So the freeze pen has three options. The first option here, it is going to make those which you are seeing in blue. So the first column up and the first row on your left. If I choose that option, the first column up and the first row on the left will remain there. They will not move. Okay? If I choose the second option, the first row up will not move. When I choose first column, the first column will not move. So for me, what I did, I want this first row here to remain. Even if I move, I want it to be seen. However much I move, I want it to be seen. So what I do, I go to freeze pen and I choose freeze top row. So when I choose freeze top row, when I scroll, you can see top row is not moving.
Okay.
If I want to do away with it, I can go back and I say unfreeze. So the unfreeze comes automatically. The moment you freeze, the unfreeze comes automatically. So I say unfreeze. Now when I unfreeze, now you can see it is moving. Things are very simple. This is computer applications too. Now we are on the matters of the generals. Any other question? But I request you to learn these things. Today in organizations, Excel is very vital. Most of the people at workplaces, they are dealing with Excel. Okay? As I normally tell you, no one will hail you because you know Microsoft Word. Because even a cleaner can type in Word, even a driver. But Excel, not everybody can do it. Okay. If there is no question, let us add something else. I assume there is no question. Okay. Let us go to, oh, someone has put in the chat. I don't want to leave anyone behind. That's why I'm a bit slow. Because I know these are tough things. Okay. Let us go to conditional formatting. Now, conditional formatting is found under the Home tab. And we are going to format our data based on certain conditions. So when we come to the conditional formatting here, we have very many options. We have highlight cell rules. When we go to highlight cell rules, we have various cell rules. So we have greater than, less than, between, equal to, text that contains. But what now I want to be interested in here are the duplicate values. So if I want to see if I have duplicate students, if I have a student who is there twice, let me first duplicate some students. Let me just get some students and I duplicate them such that we see what I want. Just duplicate a few students there. Okay. So I have my students there, and I just want to know if there's a student who has been repeated. So what I do, I come to conditional formatting. Then I'm going to select highlight, cell rules. Then I go to duplicate values. So if the computer finds a duplicate, I want it to make it light red, filled with darker red text. There are so many options you can choose from. I can make the text red, border red, light green, and so on. Let's take the first option. Then I click OK. Now, as you can see, it has not done anything. It is not showing any duplicate. Okay? The reason why it's not showing any duplicate, because I did not select anything. Okay? Now let us repeat when we have selected. I'm going to select the entire document, the entire data. Okay. There are some. So you see those things which I put empty folder. Some of you send me empty folders for marking, and then you complain that you gave me your work. So when I find your work empty, that's why I put that comment, empty folder. Okay. So I have selected now the work, and I want the computer to search and see if there are some duplicates. So duplicate values. So I will say, okay. Now, as you can see, it is showing me duplicate values. Oh, now, because these are marks, some marks, now let me not include the marks side. Let me use the names only. Let us use just this one for the names, such that we don't get confused with the marks. Okay, so you select, and I want to see if there's a student who has been repeated. Then I come to conditional formatting. Then I'll choose duplicate values. Okay, so you select, let me select a different, I want the duplicate to be put in light red field. Then I select okay. So as you can see now, that student, Jennifer Daniel, if you go ahead, you'll find that Jennifer Daniel is there. You see, is there. If you see Nisima Elijah, when you go somewhere, you find Nisima Elijah there. So now I delete that student. I delete one because it is the same student. So the moment I delete one, you are going to see what will happen. So I delete that student. So the moment I delete that student, it's no longer duplicate. The same applies to Menga. Now I have Menga there and I have Menga there. So the moment I delete one, so the other one is automatically. Now, this is what we call data cleanup. Okay? You can go into an organization. Some organizations need data clerks. And these are some of the jobs that the data clerks do. So you can go into an organization, then you are given data and you are told to clean up that data. Like the data for electoral commission. You know, towards elections, electoral commission does a process of data cleanup. This is what they do. They want to see that the voters are not repeated. They want to say national IDs are not repeated. So this is what they do. Conditional formatting helps us to see those who have duplicated values. If you don't use that, there's another tool you can use, which we shall see. But you can as well use, now I'm going to bars. to top and bottom rules. So I'm going to do that rule. Is there any question concerning conditional formatting before I continue? Any question concerning conditional formatting? Everything is okay? All right. Still under conditional formatting, I may want to choose the top 10 students by looking at the mark there. So I want just the top 10. Under conditional formatting, I come to top 10 items. And the top 10 items, I want to highlight them with the, let me put it yellow, darker yellow. Then I click OK. So when you look in this list, you can see 83 is among them, 85 is among them, 89 is among them. So the top 10 are highlighted with yellow, okay? So when does this one work? Your boss at your workplace can tell you, I want to know, maybe it is the end of year, they are going to give gifts. And the boss can tell you, I want to know the top 10 customers, such that we can give them gifts. So instead of running around, which one, you can use conditional formatting. Just a click of the mouse will tell you the top 10. Now, I may want the last. So still I can count conditional formatting. Then now this time I'm going to choose the bottom 10. Bottom 10. And I'm going to, you can even change the number here. It is 10, but let me say the last 5. Let me choose 5, okay? Then here I can select which color. Let me put them in green. And I say, okay. So as you can see the 0, someone who has 0 has been the first to be shown. See all of those with the zeros, they are being shown. Seems I have many with the zeros. See, they are showing me all those with the zeros. Let me hope in your class there is no one I gave a 0. But it's not me who gives a 0, it is you who give yourselves the zeros, not me. If someone can have a 90 and someone has a 0. Okay. Please write down these things in your free time so that you can revise them, because you'll find them in the exam. Write them down. We are still under conditional formatting. Now, I'm going to look at data bars. We have seen the text highlighter rules. There are so many practice all of these rules. I've done only the duplicate values, but you can have equal to, between, less than, practice them. Because of time, I'm just dealing with just a few. Top, bottom. Now let us go to data bars. Now data bars are going to be determined based on a certain data. Say, for example, when I click there, now when you look here, because the highest mark is 90, so all of these other bars are going to be based on 90. So the highest mark is 90. So when you look at that, so a person who has 20, you can see. So the highest mark is 90. All of these are based on the highest mark, which is 90. If this highest mark was 100, The moment I put 100 there, see, automatically these ones adjust themselves to based on the highest mark. If the highest mark here, I make it 300, you can see automatically other bars adjust to fit the highest mark. Someone is worried about sharing the recording at the end of the lecture. I will, because I'm recording the lecture. I'll share it. Any lecture I had online, I record and I share them afterwards. Okay. Let me open another data set and I show you something. I normally want you to put these things into practice and you see how they work. Because I'm going to use data of a certain organization, I need to first hide some things from you so that you don't know what I'm using. Let me first hide some things. Okay. Okay, let me now share another screen. I have finished to hide the data. Okay, when you look at this data here, this is a group of members. It's a group of members. I'm one of that group, and we do monthly savings. We do monthly savings. So if you look at this, let us just look at how much money each one has saved so far. Okay, I think the highest has saved 12 million, 12.8 something million, the highest. So I'm going to make a conditional formatting, and I'm going to use the bars, the color bars. So my conditional formatting is going to be based on the data bars. So I want to determine visually how much each one has saved using the bars, just not looking at the money. So this is what I do. Don't mind about our money. You mind about what I'm teaching. This is not your money. Okay, so I have selected up to the end. Then I go to conditional formatting. Then I go to data bars. I can select either grid or I can select a solid color. Okay. Now, when you look at these bars, they are given looking at the percent at the general total here. Okay. The general total is 59,000,025. Okay. Now, this 59 million, when you look at this bar, it shows you the one who has saved 12 million has up to that level. And the one who has saved up to 1 million has up to that level. So it is basing on that. But now I'm going to do it without this, and then I'm going to do it compared to that 12 million. So when I select, I'm going to exclude the last one. Okay. So the data bar is going to be drawn basing on the highest figure, which is 12 million. So I go to conditional formatting, then data bars. This time, let me use the blue. So you can see very well now that the first person of 12 million the cell is filled with a blue color. And these others are based on that person. Those who have 0, you can see they have nothing totally. Now, if I change here and I say this first person, say has 5 million. Is that 5 million? Okay. So you can see now the second person, the meter has changed because this person has now 7 million. So this person has the highest figure. Okay. So that is conditional formatting. You can also have icon as you can use icon sets. You can use color scales there. You can choose a color scale. Now, what does a color scale do? So what a color scale does, you see the highest figure has the darker green. So the green goes on reducing according to how much the person has. So until when it goes to red. So it begins from green and goes reducing until when it goes to red. Okay? Those are color scales. You can also use the icon sets. You can use like the shapes. So when you look at the shapes there, again, the color is going to reduce based on the highest, which is green. Then the color is going to reducing until when you get those in red. So all of that is conditional formatting. Okay? Any question before we go to cell rules? Any question? Everything is clear? I don't want to leave people behind. Okay, let me remove this because I don't want the owners to come here and they say use our money to lecture, to do your lectures. Okay, let us go back to what we were using for the lectures. Okay. So far, so good. Let us see some features under the page layout. We want to look at page setup here. I just want to duplicate this data so that we have a big data. Just duplicate it such that we have much data to work on. I've just duplicated the work. I've just used the copy and paste. because I want to have a big record to work on. Okay. So let's go under page setup. Let's begin with the margins. These ones we saw in Microsoft Word, but even here we have margins. So you can choose to have wide margins, normal margins, and so on. Then we have page orientation. Again, we saw in Microsoft Word. That is portrait and landscape. That is computer applications one. We saw that. Size, we saw. Now, for our applications too, what I want to add is the print area. The print area. So when I want to print this work, let me put it at landscape. So if I want to print this work, then I go to print. So as you can see, it brings out the 12 pages. I'm going to go slow on this because printing in Excel is difficult. It's not the same as printing in Microsoft Word. Printing in Excel is so difficult. It gives people hard time. So here I have 12 pages. And as you see, all of my work is not fitting on one sheet. So I have options here. Down here, there's no scaling. So I can choose to fit all rows on one page. So you have different options here. Fit all columns on one page. There are fitted all columns on one page. Now you say I have 3 pages instead of having. Just a minute, someone is calling me here. Okay, I'm back. Just one student was asking where we are studying from, but we are almost ending the lecture and the person. The timetable says the lecture is at 2. Someone is calling towards the 4 and is asking where is the lecture? I'm looking for you. Students are always students. Okay, we have been saying we have reduced the pages to 3. But if we don't do that, there is a time when your boss at your workplace can say, I need you to print for me just a few records. Say, for example, he says, I want you to print for me the first 20 customers. So now this time, he's not interested in everything. He's interested in the first 20 customers. Okay? So that's what we are going to see. So what you do, you select the first 20 items which you want to print. So I select only those that I want to print. Then I click on print area. Then I'll click set print area. So the moment I set print area, so if I go to print, so as you can see, only what I set in the print area will come. The rest will not come. Does it make sense? So the boss comes and says, well, I want you to print for me only the first 10 customers. So there you are going to use a tool which is called set print area. So you select the first 5 customers the boss wants. Then you come to print area and you click set print area. So after that, you can go to print. So as you see, only what I have selected is what it will print. What is not selected will not be printed. Excel is so hard, especially when it comes to printing. Any question concerning the printing? Someone has put something in the chat room. How can we use data bus? Now someone is taking me behind. We're on printing. Okay. So after using it, you go back to the print area, and then you can either you can add or you can clear the print area. Now I go to background. Last semester in the exam, I told students to put a watermark in their Excel work. And someone told me, but sir, you said things which are impossible. I said, what did I say which is impossible? He said, you can't put a watermark in Excel. People, you can put a watermark in Excel using background. So when you come to page out and you come to background, so there you have an option to put a watermark. So I'm going to put a watermark of Nkumba University badge in my work. So when you find it in exam, don't say this thing is impossible. Okay. Now, let's go to print titles. Now, if I print this work here, that is page 1. But when you go to page 2, as you see, page 2 doesn't have a title, and page 3 doesn't have the heading row. So you may have number of pages, but you want each page to come with a heading row there, up. So you want each page to come with a heading row up. So what to say, I will do that. So we come to print titles. Under print titles, there is rows to repeat at the top. Rows to repeat at the top. So you click that, rows to repeat at the top. Then you select the row which you want to repeat, that is the header row. I want that top to be repeated on the top. Then after I come back there and I say, okay. As you can see, the moment I choose that, it uses absolute reference there. You can see that it uses absolute reference. You can also choose to print the grid lines if you want. Then you click OK. Now, if I come to printing, you can see page 1 has the header row. Page 2 also has the header row. Page 3 also has the header row. So even if you have 100 pages, they all come with the header rows. Is that okay? Another item I want us to consider is page numbers. Some people think in Excel, There's no way you can put page numbers. I hope people are writing down these things. Hope you are writing them down. We are going to page numbers in Excel. Okay. So to insert page numbers, you click on insert. Insert. So you come here where is text. Now, if you have Windows 10, this will not be the case. But those who have, Office 10, but those who have Office like 13, 16, 19, so you come to that. Now, Excel will not put for you page numbers like in Microsoft Word. It will not. Excel will not put page numbers like in Microsoft Word. In Microsoft Word, you see insert page numbers. For Excel, it's not the case. That's why people think that it's not possible to put page numbers in Excel. So Excel, you click on header and footer. So under header and footer, that's where you're going to see page numbers. So Excel, some things are hidden. So when I choose page number, now the page numbers will come there. That is where also you put your headers, like in exam. Now this is page 1 as you see. Like in exam, I may tell you, put a header, your student number as a header, index number as footer. So here we are in the headers. So you can put your student number there. So those are headers. It has 3 sections. The head has 3 sections. That section on the left, the section in the middle, and there's a section on the right. When you scroll down, you will see the footer. The footer also has 3 sections. There on the left, in the middle, and on the right. So you can choose to put the page number here. And then you have the current time, current date. So if you find those things in exam, put a current date, put a current time. That's where those things come from. Okay? So you can put a current date and you can put a current time. So as you can see, the current date has brought itself and the current time has brought itself. These are simple things that you may find in exam. I'm not saying they are going to come, but I'm saying you may find them in exam. And you start complaining. So after that, you can close these headers and footers by coming to the view, and then you choose normal view. So you choose normal view. Now under normal view, you will not be able to see the headers you put. You will not see them. But when you go to print, you will be able to see them. So you can see the page 1 is there. Even here you can see one, current date is there, current time is there. Okay? But when you look here in normal view, you not see them. But if you want to see them, then you can come to page layout. And when you come to page break will show you where the page is ending. I want very soon, by mid this March, when we have finished Excel, so that we go to Access. Excel, we are building from Computer Applications 1. But Access, it is something new. So I need Apple. We shall be doing Access, and it will take us up to the end of the semester. It will be something new. Also, it's not an easy thing, but we shall handle. I'm rushing through Excel because most of the things we saw in Applications 1. So today we have been able to see the conditional formatting. We have been able to see the tables. We have been able to see the print area, the print titles. Then again, we have seen the page numbers, headers and footers. Next week, we shall look at the data. We shall be dealing with the data. Please make sure next week, I don't know whether it will be a physical class or online class, but me, I prefer online class because all of you can see my screen very well. And online class, we can record very well, and I give you the recordings for revision. But physical class, we have a challenge, we don't have a projector. So it is so hard for you to follow up. So I don't know what you people think, but I think online classes are very good because you can easily follow my screen, what I'm doing. But next Friday, I'm not going to teach. Next Friday, I'm not teaching. I have a function. I will be at a function. But I will give you something to do. I'll be in a function. But next time we shall look at data. Okay? Shall look at some choosing data. Someone is saying it's very okay, we continue the online lectures, but that is one person. You discuss amongst yourselves. I don't want to take one person's decision. Someone saying next Friday is a public holiday. Public holiday, is it Thursday, 8th of March? Is it Friday? Seems my calendar. Let me check on the calendar here. I'm not so sure. If it's a public holiday, no, it's okay. But yeah, you are correct. Next Friday is a public holiday. Yes. So next Friday, ladies on the group, I wish you the best. Okay, someone saying the challenge is that we are few in online classes. I don't know where the rest are hiding. But even physical classes, I know Friday is very tricky. Last semester, I had a class for Computer Applications 2 on Friday after lunch again. Every Friday, the university, either they were going for football, or they were going for freshers ball, or they were calling them for the school meeting, or every Friday after lunch, there is an activity at the university, or there is a webinar. So we ended up not studying. Okay? So Fridays after lunch is a challenge. And some students, their boyfriends are taking them out. So we shall see how we go about it. But the next lecture, please don't miss, because I'm going to deal with the data validation. And that is very, very crucial, data validation. You learn a lot. It is going to help you to learn a lot of things. We are going to see things like the grouping. We are going to see things like the data. When you code, you program your Excel sheet, when a person enters the wrong data, it refuses to accept that data, tells the person to enter the correct data. So those things we are going to see next Friday. Okay? And after that, then we shall look at pivot tables. After the pivot tables, then we shall see the general cleaning up of data. And then we shall wind up the Excel, and then we prepare for access. Yes, someone is asking, is the next lecture on the same link? Yeah. Throughout this semester, we shall use the same link. If we have online class, it will be a continuous link throughout this semester. There's no other link. We shall always use this one. I just want to end. If there's no question, I want to end here. I've recorded this lecture and I'm going to send it in the group. Okay, I wish you the
Thank you,
best. Have a
teacher.
nice evening. You can go and enjoy your weekend.
Good.
It's going to record again. Just
He said like that.